Welcome in, basketball fans. We have our NBA Week 7 Power Scale. We're going to talk about our poster of the week, our player of the week, and our updated top 10 teams through 7 weeks of basketball. Before this video starts, I need you to comment down below who your favorite basketball team is, just so we can see who's getting represented on these videos. Don't forget, like and subscribe. We are going to start with our poster of the week, coming from the Milwaukee Bucks. Big Miles Turner climbing the tower that is Isaiah Stewart. And even more impressive, might I add, the Detroit Pistons are a top 5 defensive team in the league and have some of the best rim protectors to date. And Miles Turner says, I don't care, from the 3 all the way to the paint, and bam! Over an absolute dog in Isaiah Stewart. There are actually a lot of posters this week. This was just my favorite one. Let me know if you think this is deserving of the #1 spot, or if you think there was a better poster this week down in the comments. We are going to head on over to our player of the week. Jamal Murray, ladies and gentlemen, is on an absolute tear. Last week alone, 29.8 points per game, 7.5 assists per game, shooting 62.1% from the 3, and put an absolute 50 bomb on the Indiana Pacers. That is an absolute W. And when you look at the Pacers, or when you look at the Denver Nuggets, you think of Jokic, you think of Aaron Gordon. Now, I don't want to lie. This man, Jamal Murray, is an absolute dog on the court. I feel like he gets overlooked. This is a dude who, if you're missing Joker, if you're missing Aaron Gordon, if you're missing key players, he's going to perform not in and not out no matter what. And he showed that last week, reminding us Jamal Murray is an absolute dog in this league. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on to our top 10 teams through 7 weeks of basketball. We're going to start at number 10 with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who up to this date, they were ranked in our top 10 earlier in the year, fell out, kind of got back in. They went on an absolute 3-0 tear last week. And when I tell you, Anthony Edwards has arrived. No matter if they're winning or losing the games, this dude is putting up ridiculous stat lines. They have played clutch defense in the fourth quarter. I do want to see them start to string their defense together a little bit better through the whole game, and they could go out here and dominate and decimate teams. When I tell you their role players are on absolute fire right now, you got Dante DiVincenzo, you got Naz Reid, you got Jaden McDaniels, who are all guys that are going out there playing solid defense and getting to the cup and shooting 3 at a really great number. This team is playing really great basketball. Can they stay healthy down the stretch? Can they put the defense together through 4 quarters of basketball? That's the question that we need answered right now. At number 9, a team that was at number 6 last week, have fallen a little bit. They didn't look amazing last week. They went 1-3 on the week. The youth is starting to show when they're facing bigger teams. They went up, I can't remember the teams off top, maybe the Lakers, Nuggets, bigger teams in our top 10, and they really fell short. They got dominated, decimated. The team is going to have to build the chemistry and keep going and be relentless down the stretch if they want to stay a top 10 team. The Raptors have a solid core around them. I think they're just missing one piece. I don't know what that piece could be. They might need to go get it before the trade deadline. I feel like they're missing one piece to really solidify themselves in the top 10. At number 8, we have the San Antonio Spurs, who oddly enough really didn't move up, really didn't move down on our list. I still feel the same about them last week. Vassell is starting to heat up and get buckets. Dylan Harper starting to come full circle off the bench, looking a lot better, getting more minutes. Really had an injury earlier in the season that kind of hindered him a little bit, but he's starting to ramp up a little bit more. And if this team can put the offense they've gained behind De'Aaron Fox, if they can put that together with the relentless defense they play on the defensive side of the ball, when Wemby gets back, this is a team who I've said is going to be solidified in the top 5, and I really think can give the Oklahoma City Thunder a run for their money when it comes down the stretch in the playoffs. The thing with this team is they have to stay healthy, and here we are yet again talking about, could Giannis Antetokounmpo get traded to the San Antonio Spurs? If you're the Spurs, are you willing to give up what it's going to take to get Giannis Antetokounmpo over there? Because you're going to have to give up Harper. You're going to have to give up Vassell. You're going to have to give up one of your key players and a bunch of picks to get Giannis over there, who is year in and year out missed playoff games, missed time in the regular season. He's an absolute relentless force. But if you end up missing him, and Wemby at the same time, it is not going to look good for the San Antonio Spurs. So I don't think they make the move. I think they just keep on the path of what they're doing and see if they can make a run in this year's playoffs. We have the San Antonio Spurs at number 8. At number 7, we have the Houston Rockets, who did fall a little bit. They went 2-2 last week, dropping massive games to teams that really aren't great. Now, I do want to say they dropped one to the Mavs, the Mavs are on a little bit of a hot streak right now. They dropped one to the Jazz. They were missing Alperen Sengun, which is a massive missing piece. I can't talk any higher on the young man. A lot of people say he looks like a young Jokic, and I do think he can find that pace and come full circle. His ball IQ is great. He can shoot. He can hit the shots he needs to hit. He can work in the paint. The sky is the limit for this young man. Missing him on the court, you could really tell this week. KD and Amin Thompson last week alone averaged 58 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists amongst each other. They need Sengun healthy and on the court if they want to stay in our top 10. At number 6, we have the New York Knicks, who were number 4 on our list last week. You can tell how much they were missing OG Anunoby with him finally back on the court, showing how important he was not only on the offense, but the defensive side of the ball. Karl-Anthony Towns isn't having to exert all his energy, being an absolute demon on the offensive and the defensive side of the court. And shout out Josh Hart, who is starting to play absolute insane basketball. Last week alone, averaging 16 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. This is big for this team. We have OG Anunoby and Josh Hart, both relentless on the defensive side of the ball. It's opening up Karl-Anthony Towns. It's opening up Jalen Brunson to really insert their dominance on the offensive side of the ball. This team really needs to go out here and get a brutalizing dub over a team like the Nuggets, who they're going to have a chance to do this week, or over a team like the Lakers or the Oklahoma City Thunder, really a top tier basketball team. They have to get a brutalizing victory over one of the brutes at the top of the league. At number 5, the Boston Celtics, who have been really low on our radar recently until this absolute insane run they went on this week, going 4-0 with wins over the Cavs, Lakers, Raptors, and Wizards. The Lakers and Raptors have been high-tier teams on our list thus far. The Wizards, the Cavs, they have the potential there, but the Celtics going 4-0 on a week, this is the only 4-0 team we have on our list. Derek White starting to heat up, which is looking really good with Derek White and Anthony Simons really finding their pacing on this Celtics team. The question you're going to have to start to ask is, with Jason Tatum starting to get healthy, recovering pretty fast from that Achilles tear, are you going to risk it? Are you going to bring him back this year? Are you going to let him sit the rest of the year? This is a team who has the potential to go out here and win the conference. They could be the number 1 seed in the conference, securing home court advantage all the way through playoffs. Are you going to bring Jason Tatum back? Are you going to let him heal? Are you going to let Jaylen Brown continue to carry this team to the promised land? These are questions the Celtics are about to have to ask here at potentially the mid part of the season. Personally, I would let Jason Tatum sit. I don't see any reason to bring him back when you're starting to mesh this well. A lot of your role players are playing good. Now, if you think you need him down the stretch for a title run, I think it's an absolute terrible decision to bring him back early, especially off an Achilles tear. I get he's young. Let him fully heal, and next year could be even more insane for this team. At number 4, last week ranked number 3, my Los Angeles Lakers, Luka the Dawn, the King LeBron, and AR-15. Austin Reeves are out here dominating and decimating teams. I don't like the load management we're seeing right now. I'd like to see these guys on the court more often, especially Luka, who is putting up absolute ridiculous numbers. I don't want to see him sit himself out of an MVP conversation. And where does LeBron really fit on the court? I feel like he's starting to get it together. I feel like he's a ball facilitator. We saw his streak of 10 plus points broke, a streak that has been live since 2007, ladies and gentlemen. That is absolutely ridiculous. But that being said, he's more of a ball facilitator now. We did see him come out with no AR, with no Luka. I won't say no AR, no Luka. They just really weren't producing at the level they typically produce at. LeBron coming in, inserting his dominance, and going out there and winning a game. This could be potentially the new big 3 in the NBA. LeBron, Luka, and AR looking ridiculous out there. And I think with LeBron back, it's making guys off the bench play better. The Lakers possessing one of the worst benches in the league. I do want to throw that out there. I think it's making guys come off the bench and play better. I think we're seeing better production out of Ayton, and I think the Lakers are solidifying themselves as a top 5 team in this league. I would just like to see the stars on the court a little bit more all together. At number 3, we have the Denver Nuggets. Jokic is absolutely ridiculous. We already touched on Jamal Murray. Gordon looking like an absolute dog. They were ranked 3 last week. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I won't say 1 because we all know who number 1 is, and I don't know if anyone's catching up. 2, 3, 4, and 5 can really all be interchanged at any point. They're all on the same level. They all have difference makers, and Joker, potentially the best all-around player in the league, is the difference maker on this team. And when you pair him with a guy like Jamal Murray, who can drop 50 points at any willing moment of the night, this team is relentless. When you talk about Joker, they do drop a stinker to the Mavs. They go on to dominate the rest of the stretch. Murray with a 50-point game. They're good on offense. They're good on defense. I would like to see the depth get a little bit better. I don't know if you make a move for a depth piece at this point in the season. It's kind of hard. Do you trade picks for depth? I think you do something like that. Joker, offensive, defensive demon, one of the best players in this league. At number 2, the Detroit Pistons, 3-1 on last week, able to win close games now. That was the problem we saw them with last year. They weren't able to close games out, but now with Cade Cunningham and the boys, they're out here relentlessly playing offense and they're relentlessly playing defense. They're able to close games out. They're able to play in these close games and go out there, and you got guys all over the court who can close it out. Anyone from Cade Cunningham all the way to Duncan Robinson. We're seeing different guys close games out for this team because, again, everyone's playing team defense. Everyone's playing team offense. Everyone hitting big shots when you need them to hit them. They're closing games out, and this is something they couldn't do last year. And Cade Cunningham is a top 5 player in this league when it comes to crunch time. He's up there with guys like SGA, and that is a massive change from what they were last year. And they were still a playoff team last year. So the Detroit Pistons at number 2. And last but not least, the reigning, defending Oklahoma City Thunder. This team, you cannot have SGA on the court. You have SGA, Hartenstein, and Dort out against the Utah Jazz. You go out there and you boat race the Utah Jazz. One of the, not greater teams in the league, but that says something when you're missing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, when you're missing one of your better defensive pieces in Isaiah Hartenstein, when you're missing Lou Dort, and you go out there and you just dominate and decimate the Jazz. That was a big win for this team. And a lot of people speculating, could this team make a run for Giannis Antetokounmpo? I don't think you do it. I think what you have right now is absolutely insane. And I think we're going to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder as potentially one of the best teams to ever do it. But I want to remind y'all, that record means nothing. It don't mean a thing if you don't win a ring. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our top 10 NBA teams through 7 weeks of basketball. What I need you to do down below, let me know if there's someone too high. Let me know if there's someone too low. Let me know who you think should be in or should be out. Down in the comments, don't forget, like and subscribe.